Welcome everybody. We are live from Brno. In fact, we are in the Faculty of Social Sciences. My name is Yuri. I'm from Germany. I'm the ambassador of Energy Policy Studies, and I'm happy to be here at Brno, happy to give you some more information about different programs which we offer at the university, give you more information about the city, and I'm very pleased to be joined by my colleagues here. And we will start off with an introduction round and then slowly get into the topics of Brno, the different programs, and also we'll have the opportunity for you to ask some questions, which we will then happily answer.
Yeah, all right, I'll start then. My name is Frida. I am from the US and I'm the student ambassador for the Conflict and Democracy Studies program. So sort of like international relations, but looking very specifically about conflict and democracy. So
hi, I'm Amira. I'm from Mexico. I'm one of the ambassadors of the International Relations and European Politics program. And
Hi, and I'm Abhinav. I'm from India. I also share the same title with Amira as the student ambassador of the International Relations and European Politics program. And I'm really glad to be talking to you about the faculty and the life in Brno.
All right, maybe we can start off with a quick round on how we all came to Brno, how we all came to the Faculty of Social Sciences. For me, it was the case that energy policy studies to me just seemed as a very interesting program. So now I'm in my third semester, been here for a year. I'm happy to learn about energy issues, about the complexity of all that. And I feel the faculty here is a good place for studying that.
Very relevant to the current times.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's on the news everywhere, but already before that, I feel it was a good idea to do that.
Yeah, so for me, the Conflict and Democracy program is really very specific. There's not a lot of similar master programs out there. I mean, international relations is, you can find that everywhere, but the Conflict and Democracy. So that's why I ended up at Brno, because it's quite a unique program. I moved here in March of 2021, so it's been a little while now. But
well, for me, it was that I already had somebody that lived here in Brno. And then I was looking for international relations programs, but only focus on international relations and maybe something else. And then my brother talked to me about the English programs at Masaryk University. So that's how it came to be.
And for me, I always had a knack for international relations. I was participating in a lot of clubs in my high school, which really targeted global political affairs. And in India, by I don't know what chance, there are no good universities that teach international relations. And then I started looking abroad and I found Masaryk University. The ranking was good. The program looked really well. And I just felt like that's my calling. So now I'm here and I'm more joyful than ever, I would say.
All right, thank you very much. This was just a brief introduction on why we chose the program. As you are aware, the virtual open day is gonna last for a couple more hours, where we will talk about the programs that we are studying in more detail. So if you are interested in that, you have the chance to later join the specific chats. But for this session, we would like to introduce the city of Brno. We would like to introduce the faculty. And yeah, as I said, details about the programs will follow later. So I would suggest that we start talking about Brno. It's a city with lots of opportunities and many things to do. And I know that we have some hiking enthusiasts among us. So maybe you want to share a little about that?
Sure, yeah. That's something really lovely about Moravia. There's a lot of wonderful places to go hiking. It's not maybe mountains, but really lovely hillsides and rock formations. One of my favorite places is Palava, which is maybe 40 kilometers from here. So it's easy to go on day trips. So yeah, Moravia hiking is just beautiful. And even within Brno, there's a lot of nice parks to just spend time outside, like Lužanky and Spielberg.
Yeah, like continuing on that, like if you want to hike, the faculty offers some compulsory PE courses where you can do similar hikes, like go to Palava and enjoy the views of Brno and surrounding areas. But I would also like to emphasize that, like hiking is good, but the cafe life in Brno is extremely nice. You would find really good cafes in Brno. You can study there, spend time there, and there are even cafes with cats in them if you like cats. So I mean, there's always something new to explore and something new to see in Brno in terms of the coffee culture.
And there's always things to do here. Like in the summer, there was even like a fireworks festival from each different country. There was Croatia, Germany, and it was really good. And it was on the lake because we have a lake here. Really good as well to do picnics and everything. And the fireworks were amazing. There's also a lot of festivals like wine festival, coffee festival. So I think in Brno, you don't get bored, to be honest.
Especially with those festivals, it seems like there's something different going on every week. And even though the city itself, especially the old town, seems to be quite small, but it seems like that's the opportunities or the places to go to never end. There's always something new to discover, and that's why I really like the place.
Yeah, I think the smallness of the city center is part of what makes it so cozy, because you run into everybody that you know in the city center. It works like it's supposed to there.
About people living in Brno, we should say it's not a student city per se, but there are a lot of students in town, also a lot of international people, which also makes it for us who are all non-Czech easy to integrate, to find people, activities to participate in. And yeah, it's a bit of a hidden gem in between Prague and Vienna. So we don't really have the tourists here, but all the good things that these two places also have to offer, I would say. So yeah, and this is a shared feeling of most students.
Yeah. We're right in the middle of Europe, and you have many opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. In Brno, the reason we are here is our faculty. So maybe we should zoom in on that a little and talk about our faculty and what opportunities we have here.
Well, I mean, let's start with the library. The library, it's amazing. It has like a lot of study rooms, and you can book them. You can also just grab the first one available. And there's a lot of spots to study, which is really nice. You can study like a little bit on the outside, or you can just go in these like small cubicles that are like on the top, and it's like really nice. What else? There's also like the journals outside, which is really, really nice. And
is it possible to go there all the time?
It is not possible to go there all the time. On the Sundays it's closed, and on Saturdays they're open for a limited time. But overall the libraries are really good, and the university also has a 24/7 running study room that is right next to our faculty, right in front of it. So you can go there if the library is ever closed and study, and it's open all the time. So you won't find difficulty in finding a place where you can study, or if you just want a quiet place to sit down.
Then about life at faculty.
We have a lot of activities in the faculty. Like at the beginning, we had a barbecue, and at least me and Abhinav, we helped with the barbecue.
Yeah, we prepped everything up.
I was there too.
I'm so sorry. Well, the two of them helped with the barbecue. The two of us, oh my goodness. We helped with the barbecue, and it was really nice. A lot of students enjoyed. We met a lot of new people. There was both Erasmus, international, and local students as well. So it was really nice. It's a chance to get to meet your colleagues. It's a chance to get to meet your professors as well. So,
yeah, there's a lot of different events that go on. And also the Erasmus network does host a lot of events that are open to all the international students. So you don't have to be Erasmus to join a lot of the international events. And yeah, we even did laser tag once. So
it was really fun. The students enjoy a lot, and it's very, I don't know.
On the note of you mentioning the profs, I would highlight this as one of the strengths of the university. In my program, I feel it very much that the teachers care deeply about our progress, and yeah, they are very open. You can always approach them, and that also makes it a somewhat special place, or a place where you feel that you are seen and that the teachers do want to work with you, and yeah, that's a great plus.
I would say so as well. I would also like to emphasize on the fact that there are compulsory courses which have a lot of people in them, but if we look at the electives, we have like 20 people in a class, and it really puts an individual emphasis on the professors teaching us, which is quite good because you can ask them doubts, you can interact with them on a one-on-one basis and build a relationship in certain regards, which you can later benefit from. So I would say the faculty provides wonderful opportunities for everyone who really is passionate about their subjects and what they want to be doing about.
No.
Yeah.
I read for my program, some of the classes are even smaller than that. I mean, and it's really, really nice because you end up being able to have very in-depth conversations. For one class that we did was on modern technologies. So we're talking about ethics, and when you have a small class, when you can really like dive into ethical issues, it's really nice.
No.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Besides from barbecue, do we have any other fun events going on in Brno?
Events. Oh, so we did a hike as well, and the hike was really nice because we expected the water to be way worse, but it ended up being like very autumnish with very cloudy, but really, really nice. And we hiked to the castle, and we also have I think there's a ball coming as well. Like
The
the international students ball is coming as well. All the tickets are sold out already, so I think it's gonna be a good one, and you get a chance to dress up. So why not? So
yeah, and I haven't been to any, but I know the hockey team here is very big. People love to go to the hockey teams.
It's extravagant, I would say.
Yeah, the hockey team is definitely something very special to see when you come to Brno. It's they play in the real hockey stadium in front of 7,500 students, and definitely interesting to see.
yeah, and this year it was so packed that there was people lining up like without seats. They were just standing there looking at the match. That's how big hockey is, especially here. So
Yeah.
All right. Anything to add?
I would also like to add one more thing. Apart from the general fun activities that we have at the faculty, there are also some activities that specifically focus on like various academic issues that are happening globally. For example, in March we had debates on Russia and Ukraine, and we had experts from the field come in, talk to us, and then we were arguing our point about certain things. Next week we have a debate on the FIFA World Cup that's happening in Qatar. And I would say that that's also interesting because, well, we're looking at the impact of football on the sociological, international relations, and global aspects of human society. So it's really interesting to see how various events impact various forms of political structures or sociological structures. So I would say that's a good thing to add to faculty, that you'll always find something happening here, so you can always participate in something that you find good or interesting.
And I've heard whispers about an MUN.
Yes. Well, me and one of my colleagues are starting the MUN, restarting the MUN. The club was not active for a few years, but we looked at the opportunity and said that yes, like we should have a club. And that could be a call for you as well, to later start your own club in the future at the faculty. And basically what the MUN is, it's basically Model United Nations, where students come all dressed up in formal attires. They represent various countries of their choosing, talk about certain agendas, like I would say slavery in the FIFA World Cup, and they pass resolutions on certain things. Basically, United Nations, but just for the university, which is good. And it teaches you a lot about public speaking, critical thinking, and how to really present your points in a more concise way.
So you really see that there's always an attempt to bridge the maybe more detached scientific world with
always
ongoings, and we will have these discussions, and also in class there's always an attempt to break it down on nowadays and practical issues. And it's like we're not sitting in our high tower and not knowing what's going on.
I think that's the beauty of the faculty, that it really takes issues that are happening all over the world, and it brings it and focuses on those issues from a perspective that is relevant to us, and there's many things to learn from that.
All right. For those who we might have convinced already to come to Brno, they're probably keen on knowing where to live and how to find accommodation here. University helps with providing dorms. Amira, I know that you live in a dorm, and like, how did you find it, or like, what can you tell us about that?
So I have lived in 3 different dorms. So I really wanted to experience all of them. And I have lived in Kunitsova, Komarov, and Glaselova, and all of them were very different. Like, one was filled with international students, the other one, it was full-time students, and the other one was like Slovak students. So I got a little bit of everything, and I just said that you just have to look for accommodation that fits, like, goes with your needs. For me, I really needed to be close to my faculty or to the center. So when I went to Komarov, kind of struggled because it's kind of far away, but also a lot of people loved it because you can see nature, it's really calm, and you live in Komarov, right?
Yeah, I live in Komarov because it's one of the better places to get a single room, so it's fairly cheap to still get a single room, so that's why I like it.
And do you have any recommendations on how to apply for the dorms, or what deadlines you need to consider?
All the deadlines you would find on the ISCAM, and you would be sent emails by the university to register on certain dates. We cannot say for sure when the date would be there for you, but we can say that you would get emails regarding the deadlines for submitting the application. But what I would recommend is really to just book your accommodation on the first day, right when the slots open. Just make sure that you're there and you book your accommodation, because sometimes you have a preferred choice already, and those choices can just go away if someone else books it. So I would say that if you really want to get a good place of your choosing to live, you should be there like on the first day, right when the registration starts.
And check all the dorms. Don't just stay with the one that, oh, there's going to be a lot of international students, I should go to that one. No, check all of them, because maybe the most popular one doesn't fit your needs. So that would be my recommendation as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I used to live in Vinarska, which is arguably the most popular student dorm here, but I do not feel that going with my choosing. It was a little bit far from the faculty, but Konitsova is really good, really good.
Yeah.
So maybe just to like complete this accommodation theme, I can also tell you that it's possible to live in a private place here or not in a dorm, but you should know that this is probably a lot more expensive, and it's also not easy to find a place. Me, myself, I got in contact with a lot of agencies or people who offered rooms, often getting negative responses, as a lot of landlords are mainly looking for Czech people. But eventually I managed to find my own room. I was kind of forced to do that since I missed the deadline for the dorms. So yeah, to sum it up, it is possible, but probably from a financial point of view, and from and for the sake of you saving yourself the stress of finding your own place, I can recommend the dorms, or also from what I heard from people living in the dorms, that this is a good option.
Also, it's even if you want to move out of the dorms and get private accommodation, I think it's best to start from the dorms, because then you can actually look at places and find something that suits your needs, so you're not desperate and just accepting whatever offers you find. So.
All right. But then for those of you who are still in the application process, there are various technicalities which you should consider, like visa, language requirements, and deadlines. I'm first going to ask the two of you, since you're in the bachelor's programs, what insights you have to share on that.
Well, the bachelor's process now is not super technical. I think everyone would be able to get it. Basically, right now we have a multiple choice question a multiple choice question test. That based on certain readings, we read those and we answer the questions in the test, and that would be it. There's also a language element. Basically, you need to prove that you speak English. Many certificates like IELTS, TOEFL, many different certificates are accepted for that. If none of those options are available for you, you can also choose to give the English language test at the Muni Language Center, and they would accept that as well. Coming to and that would really be it for the application process. It's super linear, super simplified, so you won't be facing any issues. We did change the process recently. We don't have interviews now, so that'll be it from my side at least.
Maybe also adding to what you said, the deadlines. The deadline for the spring intake is coming up. It's on the 15th of November. And although you have a lot of time for the deadlines, maybe try to apply as earlier as possible because of the visa process. Although it's different in every country, usually the embassies always have a full schedule of appointments.
Yes, I would highly recommend you to fill in your application as earlier as possible, because as we know, we're from people from at least like the global south or some countries in Latin America. We have to file visas for coming to the Czech Republic to study, and sometimes the slots can be filled, and you may not get the opportunity to get an appointment. So it becomes pertinent for you to apply earlier, so you can have the chance of applying for the visa in time, and you don't have the stress of, oh, am I going to make it to the Czech Republic? So it just makes things really easy for you.
Is there anything that you would like to add for the masters or your program in?
Yeah, so I think the master's process is a little bit different. I believe it's changed since I did it myself for my own program, but I know now there's a little discussion session. You have an interview. You fill out your application, of course, and then they do an interview. And part of the interview is that they want you to have read one of a few important texts. I know one of them is The End of History. So anybody who's interested in international relations is probably familiar with this text already. And then just to be able to discuss it. So it's not a really serious test or anything. They just want to know that you can discuss a piece of academic literature. So that's a little different than the BAs.
But I think at this point we can repeat your advice for accommodation, that all the info you need, you will find it on the websites for the specific programs. There might be some differences between the programs, but all the info you'll need for your application, you'll find it online. And if there's still things that you are uncertain about, you can reach out to the ambassadors or to university. But first, you could check the university website, and deadlines, requirements, they all should be mentioned there. And but yeah, in the end, if you're still confused or need support, that's what we are here for, and we're happy to help. And also right now, if you're having any questions, please ask them in the chat.
Yeah, I'll add just on that note before we move on to that, you should look at the specific requirements for all of the programs too. I know the language requirement is a little bit different in the bachelor's than it is from the master's. But since I'm from the US and I studied my previous degree in English, I didn't have to do the language requirement either. So.
And then once again, starting early is always recommended, since it might take a bit longer than you'd first expect. So then it's good to have a bit of a time buffer at the end. All right. So next up, we will answer your questions from the chat, if there are any. Other than that, I can repeat what I said at the beginning. Next up, we will have different sessions about all the programs where you will see all of us again, this time they're not together, but individually presenting our programs with some profs who will assist us with this. And for now, maybe as a last thing before answering questions, I would like to ask you to share a fun fact or a memory about the city of Brno. If you want, I can start off with that. for me, it was interesting to see how Brno, I mean, it's not very surprising. It's in the center of Europe, and so it's been where history has been happening for centuries. And one maybe historical fun fact is that the bells here go off at 11 o'clock. So you could say that the clocks tick somewhat differently in Brno. The reason for this is averting an attack of the Swedish army. But before we get into this, I feel you should come to Brno, discover historical facts like this and further facts, and enjoy walking around in Brno. It's also made easy with these Mendel path and Janecek path, and so you can kind of follow the footsteps of big characters or big people who lived in Brno.
Yeah, relating to history, I know one of the oldest ceramics, I believe the oldest piece of ceramics ever found in the world was found about 40 kilometers from Brno, and it's at a museum here in town. It's called the Venus of Dolne Viestonice.
I think for me is the Christmas markets. I think we don't have that much of like a Christmas vibe where I come from. So when I saw them, I was like, wow, like
That's
Santa
amazing.
Claus lives here. Like I was like, wow. And there was 2 Christmas trees as well in different colors. I was like, wow. So, yeah.
For me, it more has to do with the people of Brno. I have never experienced a person who has been mean. In fact, one time I was in the tram, and this really old lady, she came up to me, she started speaking in Czech, and I did not know Czech. So I was like, oh, nevím česky, which means I don't know Czech. And she then started speaking to me in French, and I was like, oh, I do know French, so I can talk to you. So that was quite an interesting experience here in Brno, in the public transportation. So yeah, it's quite a fun city. You never know what to expect, and some really interesting and good things can happen.
People are very, very friendly here.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's true, yeah.
So I think we should now open the floor for the questions that are
Yes.
coming from the people.
All right, then. So first question we have from Gabriel. The question is, what is the average monthly cost of living, accommodation, food?
I would say take an estimate of about 200 to 300 euros in your dormitory fee or whatever, and then put another 200 on it for food, entertainment, transportation, and all the other things. Brno won't be a super costly city. It can still be a bit costly to some people, but it is a relatively affordable option in terms of other European countries that we're talking about. And it's overall really good. So just 200 to 300 for accommodation and add another 200 on it, and you would live comfortably in Brno.
It would be a little bit more for the private accommodation.
For private accommodations,
That's
yes.
really
I
for
think
the dorms.
Yuri can talk about it.
Yeah, I would say in general, it depends on how much money you want to spend. Brno is a place where you can definitely live very economical, save money, and there are also opportunities to work here in Brno while studying. But yeah, again, this is a very, it's up to you, your personal individual choices, how much money you want to spend. I think on the university website, there also is a rough estimation of how much life costs. But of course, again, this is up to you. Also, maybe I should mention that like in many other parts of the world right now, we can see the prices rising here in Brno.
Similarly in Brno as well, like prices are rising, so we should be cautious about that.
Yeah, but yeah, in the end, there are ways of, or compared to especially other European places.
It is still better off as compared to, I would say, Vienna or
I think
parts of Germany.
Food is relatively cheap here,
Yeah.
too, and the public
Especially
transportation.
the fresh produce. You can go to the farmers market. That's at the city center, and it's really good. It's quite a good option for people who like to cook for themselves.
And in general, if we're with this food topic, maybe we should mention the great variety of restaurants we have here.
I'm all here to talk about food and Like I have seen and I've tasted a lot of Indian food in Brno, and I found my calling. There's this one restaurant called Everest. They make the best. It's really like super authentic food, and if you come here, you should try some Indian food in Brno style, and it would really take you to the streets of India, and you can feel the spices.
It's also a really great city if you're vegetarian or vegan. Because I'm vegetarian, there's tons of good food options around. The traditional Czech food is very meat heavy, but there's a lot of great vegan and veggie options. So
there's also, like, if you want to save money as well, but you want to like eat in a restaurant, there's also lunch menus, and they're very affordable, and they usually include like a soup, the whole meal, which is usually very, very big, and sometimes a drink. So they are really, really good as well. And Brno is a really student-friendly city, so you also with ISIC have discounts for food in like a lot of places. So
with the ISIC, you get a lot of discounts, even on transportation, your mobile data. A lot of discounts can be activated just by having the ISIC.
All right. Then let's see. There's another question. This question is it easy to get a room in a dormitory for the spring semester in terms of the capacity?
I would say it is easy to get a room in general. It's not easy to get a room if you're applying late. So just make sure that you're not applying super late, because then the capacity can already be gone. If you're early, there's no doubt in my mind that you can get accommodation. It's not super competitive.
They will still fill up if you wait too long.
Yes. Like it's not super competitive in the sense that you won't be fighting other people for accommodation here in the Czech Republic. But it is always good and nice to be early, so you can just avoid the stress of not finding accommodation and then struggling for a private accommodation later.
Do you know if there's a difference between the spring and the fall take-in?
The email just go in, and you have to basically just select what accommodation you want.
But might it be easier to get an accommodation in spring?
The process is similar for both fall and spring semesters, so the technicalities are not different.
I think that the dorms tend to be the fullest at the start of the year. Like
dorms
because a lot of people do move into the dorms and then move out again, and sometimes the dorms will fill up and then they'll open it for the next block, because you can book the dorms for the entire year, and then I believe you can book just for the second semester, like from the spring semester. So.
So in short, you won't find much difficulty finding an accommodation during the spring semester. So
if you do it early, especially.
Yes, do it early. Yes.
That's the main theme here.
Yes.
I think.
I will have a question from Andre. I have a question in regard to the verification of the condition for admission to study. Should I do it before or after the application?
So this is the nostrification process. You'll do that after you're accepted into the program. You don't need to do it before the admission.
Exactly.
This process varies from different countries as well. There's not one process for even within the EU. Like one of my previous degrees is from the Netherlands, and I had to get the apostille stamp from the Netherlands. But I know for some places that don't have the apostille agreement, it's a little bit more complicated too. So.
Yeah, I would say a similar thing. You have to get the apostille for certain countries. You can check it out on the Hague Convention website, and you would find if your country falls in that regard or not. And that will be it. If Amir has something to add on it.
Only for my experience that before even getting like the stamp, I had to get like a lot of signatures and everything, and because it was the end, a lot of the people were going on vacation. So that was interesting. It was fun. Yeah. So maybe do everything on time.
And maybe on a positive note, if you are within your application process and it all seems like it's not gonna work because sometimes it just takes time, or you don't know whether you have all the documents. We are the proof that international students can come here, and it is possible. And if you just strictly follow the whole process as it is outlined on the website, you eventually will make it, and then hopefully sit here with us one day.
The university does give a lot of resources, and just read them carefully.
Yes.
You won't go wrong.
Yeah, make sure not to miss any emails, and but yeah, if you do have any questions, first probably try to figure it out yourself. But yeah, then as we said, there are always people that you can ask and who are happy to assist you.
Yeah, never hesitate to like email us. We would always try to answer your questions to the best of our abilities. And you can even ask some questions to the student advisors from the faculty, and they would also be very cordial and helpful to you.
All right. Next up, we have a question about the language requirements. Mono asks whether can I submit my language document after the deadline?
So I would say that for the bachelor's perspectives, at least, part of the application process is for you to have the language requirement already. So I would not like confirm or go against it, but I would advise you to check with the student advisors first, and then maybe go also on the website and see how it goes.
And if you have specific questions, because a lot of it can happen on sort of like working by each case, so you can write to the admissions at fss.muni.cz. I think it's up there on the screen. So just write if you have any questions. There'll be somebody happy to help you out. So.
All right. Well, then we have more questions in the chat. Good day. Please, I'm from Cameroon and I'm interested in a master in energy policy study. Can you tell me about more? Yeah, I'd be very happy to tell you more about this. Since we are coming to the end of this session, I would recommend you to rejoin at 4 p.m. I'm gonna talk with Dr. Lehotsky, one of the professors of energy policy study, and we will give you a lot more information about the specific program. So hopefully see you at 4 p.m. Yeah.
For the program specific. Yeah. Do we have another question?
All right. Was this the last question? No, there's one more from GGG. How can one practice for the multiple choice admission test? Is it very specific to the readings required?
There is a practice test that you can take for the multiple choice exam. It's available at least like 1 week before the real test that you're going to be taking, so you can see where you're standing at and if you should read more or whatever. So yes, there are practice tests that you can take. It all depends on like when you're giving the exam. So if you're giving it on, let's say, the 14th of November, the test can be available from the 7th of November, and you can practice it in certain regards. That's it. Like, I think that answers your question.
All right. Then maybe we have time for 2 or 3 more questions. Let's see whether there are more. When does the university expect the tuition payment to be made if a student is accepted? But this was changed. So now if you are accepted and you start studying at Muni, you should pay your tuition fees in the beginning of the semester and not wait until the end of the semester as it used to be. So yeah, if you come to Muni and let's say you start in spring, then within February probably, no guarantee, but I guess February you should pay your tuition fees.
I think in some cases there might be a possibility to pay it in installments, but I'm not sure.
In some cases it would be a possibility.
Communicate with the office about that.
Yes. Okay.
Any more questions?
Any more, or is that it? If that is, well, if that's it with the questions, then I'd like to remind you once again that we will have more sessions. We will see the 2 of you again at what time?
At 3.
3?
Yes.
Yeah, it should be mine as well.
Okay, then I will be back at 4, and yeah, hopefully see you again and give you more insights on the programs in detail. In these sessions, you will learn more about what we actually, what contents the courses or the programs talk about, and we will also be joined by profs who gives us the insight from the teachers' perspectives, and yeah.
Yeah, I would really recommend everyone to attend the specific faculty, specific program live streams, because it can also give you an insight on the professors, and you can get to interact with them, talking to them, and finding out like how your study life is going to look like in the Czech Republic in Brno. It could be really insightful to you, as I feel. And if Frida or Amira have to add something to it, you can.
I don't think too much. We also, I don't know if I mentioned this already, we'll have another general Q&A after this as well.
Yes,
so
at
4:30,
4:30.
you can come back with any other questions about the faculty that are not program specific.
Exactly. Now, I believe you see the program on the screen again. So I guess you all already know what program you're interested in. So you can see when the time slot of your interest is happening. And yeah, very much looking forward to seeing you there.
Another question.
Actually, we have one more question. How are the applicants going to be eliminated if the department's capacity is full?
I don't think applicants will be eliminated at all. I think it really depends. Like, if you have a really good potential of being a student, I don't think that they're just going to throw your application away because the capacity is full or whatever. You should really be optimistic about your studies here at the university, and I think everything will go how you plan it to go. No eliminations happening as far as I'm aware. So yeah, as long as you're on time and you fill the application to whatever the standards set by the program, I think you should be good.
Okay. Well done. Thank you very much for your attention, and yeah, we'll see you in the breakout rooms or in the discussions about our programs. And yeah, for those of you who won't join for energy policy studies, thank you for listening, and I hopefully see you at the faculty in about a year time, or maybe in spring, who knows.
Yeah. All right, see you people.
Thank you.